In this video, I'm going to explain about the transcription in the case of eukaryotes. The transcription in eukaryotes is different from that in the prokaryotes. The first important difference is since the prokaryotes do not have the nuclear membrane, the transcription process comparatively is open type. That means it takes place within the cytoplasm, whereas in the eukaryotes the transcription process takes place within the nucleus itself. Also, when we talk of the second difference, it is the enzyme. The enzyme RNA polymerase is responsible for the transcription in the case of prokaryotes, where only the subunits are present over there. But in the case of eukaryotes, there are three different types of RNA polymerase enzyme, that is RNA polymerase 1, 2 and 3. And all the three different types of RNA, that is mRNA, tRNA and rRNA, are produced with the help of these three RNA polymerase enzymes. Now, though the basic function, the basic method of the transcription still remains the same, that is we have the promoter where the binding is there of the RNA polymerase enzyme, then the continuation and then finally the terminator. So the basic process though remains the same, but there is one major difference. As in the case of prokaryotes, we have seen that the transcription unit is a continuous structure where the process takes place with the help of RNA polymerase enzyme. But in the eukaryotes, the structural gene has certain areas which are known as exon and introns. Exon and introns are the two types of nucleotide sequence which are present within the cistron. Now, out of these, the exon 1s are the coding sequence. That is, the exon will be coding sequence of nucleotides and introns will be the non-coding sequence. So if we say a cistron is having different areas or different segment, it is a segment of DNA that has both the coding sequence, which is exon, and the non-coding sequence, that is the introns. Now they are present in the cistron along with the promoter and the terminator end. So over here you can see this is the cistron unit, whereas exon is coding and intron is non-coding area. Now when the transcription happens by binding of the RNA polymerase enzyme, as the intron zone is not coding for any of the particular type of it is a non-coding zone. So as a result, the primary transcript or the RNA which is being formed is known as primary transcript RNA, and it has the non-coding zone also. So for this purpose, the eukaryotic gene, since it is having coding and non-coding, it is known as a split gene. The cistron is a split gene over here. If we talk in terms of genetic information, the information on the eukaryotic gene for a polypeptide is not continuous. It is split. So the primary transcripted RNA which is being formed is not having a continuous information. Now this discovery was made by Richard Roberts. And it was joined by Philip Sharp. These two scientists were the first who discovered about the split gene. Now, since the eukaryotic genes are split genes, the primary transcripted RNA has to undergo the process of splicing. So, what has to be done? Splicing is done. This primary, after the transcription process, the RNA is formed, which is primary RNA. It is having non-coding areas as well. So, splicing is a process that removes the introns and join all the exons together with the help of an enzyme called as RNA splicing endonuclease. This enzyme helps in the removal of all the introns. So what is happening over here? All the introns will be removed, minus introns during the process of splicing with the help of RNA splicing endonuclease. And now the newly formed RNA is known as hnRNA, that is heterogeneous RNA. It is known as heterogeneous RNA because still it is not a mature mRNA. That means it is not capable of coding, but it has all exons in it. So the hnRNA will have all the exons in it. The hnRNA will be converted into the main mRNA or the functional mRNA with the help of additional process which is known as capping and tailing. These two processes are additional process which enables the actual or which enables the mRNA to start with the protein synthesis. Now what is capping? Capping is a process in which the substrate, that is methyl guanosine triphosphate MGP, is added at the 5' end. That is methyl guanosine phosphate is added to 5' end, and it helps in the recognition of mRNA by ribosome for the protein synthesis. So capping, actually it is the addition of this at the 5' end so as to enable the ribosome to recognize the mRNA for protein synthesis. Tailing is another phenomena where around 200 to 300 adenylate group is added at the 3' end. So over here 200 to 300 adenylate group is added to the 3' end, and the main function of both the processes, that is capping and tailing, actually is to prevent the degradation or the breaking of this mRNA by the nuclease enzyme. The entire process up to capping and tailing is taking part within the nucleus itself. So the nuclease enzyme which digests the nuclear material which is not over there, so it helps in prevention. Both the processes help in prevention of the degradation of the newly synthesized mRNA by the nuclease enzyme. Apart from this, capping also provides a site of recognition for the ribosomes to start with the protein synthesis. So this DNA, so this RNA which is being produced after capping and tailing will be now known as mRNA and will undergo the process of protein synthesis with the help of the ribosomes. So this is the process of transcription in the case of eukaryotes.